we're streaming, then we'll bring in our first contestant here, okay?
Okay. We are streaming.
I see it. We should be good.
Okay. Let me get to Zoom so I can bring in
Melanie Byer.
Melanie. Thank you. She is, I see Matthew Byer. I'm going to admit him right now. Okay. Matthew is in the meeting, and I don't know if he's with Melanie because I don't see Melanie's name listed in the waiting room anymore.
Hello?
If I see Melanie, but it has Matthew's name on it. So.
Yep. So my husband's at the State Police Academy right now, so he can't. He's in Lansing.
Oh.
Like they can't leave. So.
No, and understand that.
And at the time we purchased the house, my name is Melanie Montine. So that's why it says Melanie Montine on there. But I can show you my marriage license to show you that I am Melanie Byer if you need that.
No, that's fine. Thank you, though. All righty. Are you all set, Sarah's?
Yes. Yep. Zoom. We're live on YouTube, and we're good to go, Steve.
All righty. So, Ed, why don't you introduce us then? Oh, sorry.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Review. Good to see you, Yvonne. And if I could see Rock, I'd say good to see you too.
All right. And our first
Melanie Boyer.
Yep.
Can I start or?
Yes, go ahead, Melanie.
So, last November, myself and my husband went through a remortgage with Fifth Third, and that's when we got our home appraised by a third-party appraisal, who said our home was worth $170,000. And from there, we found out why our house payment was so high is we were paying taxes on a over $190,000 home. So bringing back to some of the properties I highlighted from the list I was given were sold at a lower value than our home was sold at, with similar characteristics. It should be noticed that our house was sold for $165,000 and $165,000 and $500, but it was actually only $159,000 and $500. The $6,000 difference was for the closing costs, not the actual house value. So the loan was for $165,000. The three houses that I made note of were 126 Peachtree, which was sold for $148,000, had 3 beds, 2 baths, similar square foot, but it had a twice as large basement, but it was still sold for less. 150 Keystone Drive was sold for $145,000, 3 beds, 2 baths, same as ours, more square foot and almost 3 times our basement size. Now then there was 2430 West Territorial Drive, which was sold for $156,900, more similar to our price, but that one had 4 beds and 2 baths, more square footage, and a larger basement size. So our appraiser also looked into similar properties in the area, which I sent along with the paperwork, and he determined that our home was still only worth $170,000. And we haven't done many updates to our home. The only major update that I recall is the privacy fence, which is only a partial privacy fence. And the main reason why I'm contesting it is because there's an unusual large gap between what the appraisal came up with the value, which is $170,000, and what we're being taxed on, which is over $190,000. If the difference was only about like 5,000 or so, it wouldn't be such a big deal, but it's an over $20,000 difference that is affecting us with the house payment and how much taxes we've just had to pay. It gets expensive, especially with last year. So I'm asking the city if they can change the value of our home to more reasonably match what our home is actually being assessed at, which is closer to $170,000. Which the appraiser did come out, he checked out all the property, take pictures of inside our home, of everything. He was actually here, and he still feels like it was worth only $170,000. Thank you for your consideration.
Melanie,
Yes.
you made no updates to the house itself.
No, the only thing we got, well, I mean, I painted it, all new, everything's repainted, but the only update I got to the property was the privacy fence,
Okay, privacy fence.
which we just did this past summer.
You mentioned 3 bedrooms and 2 baths.
Yes.
Is the basement that you have finished?
No, it's still unfinished.
Unfinished, okay. Does anyone else on the board have questions?
No, I don't have any.
I was just going to add the appraisal. Was a copy of the appraisal submitted with paperwork?
Yes, I sent it through.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we don't have access to that at the moment, so
Okay.
we'll look at it later though in our decision making.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, thank you, Melanie, for coming in.
Thank you for your time.
I'm going to head and let John Gooden. Is that right?
Yes, I believe that would be our
Our next one.
next appointment. Just a
Okay.
second. Let me, stop sharing here if I can.
Yes, Steve, in terms of the procedure here, when there are documents that would help clarify, I assume those will be made available at some decision point later?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a shared folder that I believe you all have access to, but
well, it's a mystery to me.
Regarding the shared folder, I saw that in an email, but it said I needed a code that they would send along in a separate email, which I had not received yet. So that's all I can add about that.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay, I'll check in on that, Peter. I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, are you ready for John?
Yes, who is that next? I'd like to be notified in advance of who they are, so I might make a note who I'm talking to.
John Good is his name. And I'm going to go ahead, and if you're okay, I'm going to go ahead and admit him. All right, he is joining.
John Good.
All right, he is in the meeting.
Mr. Good.
Hey, good morning.
How do you do? Good morning. My name's Ed Higby. This is your board of review, and we have 5 minutes to hear you discuss your case with us, and we will now start that.
Excellent. Yeah, well, thanks for your time. So this home was recently purchased by myself and my partner in July of 2020. At the time, the property had been on the market for over 2 years. with a listing price of $620,000 all the way down to $400,000 at the time that we purchased it. The home received a few offers during this time, none of which were acceptable, of course, or within that range, mostly due to extensive deferred maintenance. Several building components have also reached the end of their lifespan, and the sum of the deferred maintenance and the replacement items is pretty significant. The fair market value has been appraised in 2019 and 2020. 2019 was $350,000 market value, and the appraisal at the time we purchased it was $360,000. Currently, it looks like you guys have an assessed value of $301,000 from 2012. At that time, it was a pretty well-maintained home, and I think that was a turnkey price as well. So looking at everything, it's really just kind of an older home that's unfortunately been pretty poorly maintained. So I think with that is where we're seeing the reduction in value.
What improvements, if any, have you made in the property since it was purchased, and what value again did you purchase it for?
So we purchased the property for $350,000.
Okay. And any improvements you said?
We did change the stairways in the entryway. We opened up 2 non-load bearing walls. I think probably a value increase of maybe $1,000.
All right. So everything else is original to the home: furnace, air conditioning, roof, etc.
That's correct. Yep, it's all original to the home.
Does the board have any questions for John?
I just had a question for clarification. The year that it was bought.
Yeah, it was purchased in 2020, July 2nd.
Okay, July 2nd.
Yep.
And at that time, did you have an appraisal with the purchase? I don't know. Did you borrow the money, or was there appraisal? I guess
There was an appraisal, yes.
Okay.
And that value was $360,000.
360.
Yep.
The purpose of the appraisal was just to establish a value of the purchase price.
It's to validate for financing.
I see. Is the property on Waterfront?
It is, yes. It's on Golgak Lake.
Okay. So is the assessed value then, you're saying is, or your taxable value increased once you purchase the property?
That's correct.
That's all the questions I have right now. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, John, thank you for coming in. We'll look at all the paperwork during a point of decision making later today, and we'll get back to you in a short while, a couple of weeks, I believe. Steve, is that correct?
By the end of the month, should have a notice.
End of the month.
Sounds good. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, our next appointment is Locke, and I'm going to let him in right now if you guys are ready.
Sarah M., are you ready for?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. He's coming in now.
T-Lock. The name is T-Lock, is that correct?
Tom Locke.
I'm sorry. Your name is?
Tom? Last
Tom.
name Locke.
Okay. Well, Tom, this is your board of review. We have 5 minutes to hear you clarify your home situation and your assess petition.
Okay. Well, this property on 39 Union Street, I purchased late December. And so I've only owned it a few months. I paid $41,500 for it. And it's a rental place. And currently there's some people living there. I haven't made any improvement on the house. I've only owned a few months and they still live there. And I got my assessment and it's assessed at $31,167. So I feel it's over assessed. I sent some pictures in to Carrie for you guys to review.
Good. So when was the house built?
Early 1900s. I don't know the exact date.
Okay. And you state that everything is original from that point?
I don't know if it's original, but I purchased it in late December and it is as is when I purchased it. I haven't done anything to it other than putting in a few smoke detectors.
Okay. Board, any other questions?
I have a question. I was going to ask Tom if you purchased the property, was there an appraisal done at the time of the purchase?
Yes.
Have you submitted the appraisal documents with your other paperwork?
I did not, because when I asked Kerry about it, he said that it wouldn't stand. And I said,
Okay.
well, that's the price of the appraisal of the house. I don't understand why it wouldn't. Because he
Right.
said it's not what he uses to assess the house.
Okay. And then was the purpose of the purchase for you to own it as a rental, or were you going to live in it?
It was a rental. I
Okay.
currently have renters in it. So I haven't had a chance to really do much to the house.
Did you inherit the tenants with the property?
Correct.
Okay. We're seeing some pictures right now. I assume that's of your property.
Yep,
Okay. Are you providing those or is the city?
I did.
Oh, okay. All right. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
There's quite a bit of damage, as you can see through the pictures. I intended on working on them and making some improvements, but like I said, I bought it in December. It was winter and really hasn't had the time because people are living in it and it's been cold.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in, Tom. Within the end of the month, we will have our decision sent to you.
Okay. Any other information you guys need from me? I mean, I'd be happy to send the appraisal in. I just got to find it.
So that would be helpful.
Okay, it was appraised right around exactly the same price I purchased for, right, $42,000 maybe.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep. Okay, you want me to send it right to Carrie then?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
You want me to send the appraisal to the same person that I sent the photos to?
Well, to the assessor's office. Yeah, it'd be fine.
Okay.
So thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, up next we have Ron that I am inviting to the meeting now. Okay,
Good afternoon.
DeSicchio, is that correct?
DeSico.
DeSicchio.
Just call me Ron. That's fine. It's easier.
Well, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
We have a 5-minute appointment for you. If you please inform us of the condition of your home and what your petition regards in terms of it.
It's actually a commercial building I bought from the city of Battle Creek or Battle Creek Unlimited. If you review some of the documents I sent you, the city had marketed the building for over 2 or 3 years, couldn't sell it at that time. Retail cannabis was approved. I then expressed an interest. They had marketed then at that price for $385. We agreed on a price of $350. I did my due diligence and discovered that it was not acceptable for, it was zoned incorrectly. The city had misrepresented it, that we couldn't do retail cannabis at that time at that location. We still can't. So I had agreed to a price of $300,000. This sale was, the original asking price was set by the city of Battle Creek, or Battle Creek Unlimited. It was approved by the the sale was approved and the valuation was approved by the, as you see on document number on it. Sale is subject to the board of directors of the Battle Creek Tax Increment Authority. So the valuation and the sale price was all approved by the city of Battle Creek, which I agreed with. We closed on the building and then apparently was reassessed. And now you're putting a retail value of $1 million on it. I've presented quite a bit of data about the repairs that are needed on it. That's on the initial opening page. I quite frankly, I don't want to be overly dramatic, and I'm certainly not prone to hyperbole, but I think it's extremely criminal to value the building or sell it for $300,000 and then turn around and say it's worth $1 million, and then go from a reasonable tax rate to a tax rate of, what is it, $36,000 or someone's 30 at what we paid for it. I also have a comp in there of a very, very similarly situated building down the street. I have, if you review my documents, I have listing price per square foot of what the city originally listed it for, what we approved it for. And this was all done by Battle Creek. It wasn't done by some outside realtor or anything like that. I mean, this was clearly an arm's length transaction. So if you look at my list of repairs, I have documents in there. I mean, the building needs a ton of work. I feel really betrayed by the city. You know, you want businesses to come in. It doesn't really rest very well with me. You're looking at the comp of the city, of the building down the street that just sold for $200,000 right there. That was $25 a foot, and that didn't need a new roof or parking lot or all the other repair issues. This building has been vacant. It needs a lot of work. Roofing. I mean, you know, a low estimate is, you know, over $1 million on this. I have quotes from all this stuff. And I really feel that I'm being more than honest and fair by saying the building's worth 300. You at one time, I think, even listed it at 285. So that is my complaint. You guys own the building, you listed it, you set the value. The sale was approved by the taxing authority. If you didn't think it was worth what you sold it to me for, they had the ability not to sell it to me and say, oh, it's worth $1 million. I wouldn't pay that. So all the documents there are, you know, those are estimates that you're looking at right now. So I really believe that the fair market value of the building is $300,000 what I paid for it. It's still, we still don't have a C of O. A lot of there's a couple old kitchens in there. We have started removing some of that stuff that's dangerous and old and, you know, just a fire hazard. But that's basically my story in a nutshell. And you've got about, I don't know, 20 or 30 pages there to review. So roofing, HVAC. I didn't even include HVAC in the estimates, actually. The air conditioning units on the roof are all old and rusty. I can send you pictures if you want. So that's the issue.
Well, if you do have pictures, that would be helpful to us as well. The paperwork itself looks voluminous, and that's good. It's flying by now on my screen, so later decision-making period, we'll get a harder look at it and include that in our decision. That decision will be made and provided to you within the end of the month.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for being here.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
I had a question if he's still there.
Yep, I sure am.
So you bought the building, was based on what I've heard, you haven't really made any improvements, but you have a list of improvements that need to be done. Is that correct?
No, we've done some roof repairs. That's not complete. Yeah, the mansard roof, it needs to be replaced. The end unit, I would believe it was building unit A with the old kitchen equipment. That's already been removed, but we still don't have a C of O for any of it. We plan
What
on
is-
really making this a gem of the city, if you will. But with these taxes, you know, it really forbids me from doing additional repairs and improvements on the property.
So what was the existing purpose of the building? What was originally, a restaurant or something?
There was a restaurant on the I don't know which end you would call it, Unit A, that's on one end. Then there was a daycare in there. They went out of business. There was a manpower staffing company. They went out of business. And then there was some other thing, but everything in there is going out of business. So it's been vacant for a while.
Okay, so I think that answers my questions about that. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, one other question. Have you pulled any is there building permits, mechanical permits, any of that been pulled?
Yeah, on building A, there has been some pulled. Again, there's not a C of O. There has been some work done on the end unit A, but there's
I
still
see.
not a C of O, and there's been some inspections. Yes,
So
I
has the
have
city,
I have a tenant. I have a tenant in there. He's doing that part.
has the city done a vacant and abandoned building? Was this on their list? You know, if they had a list of repairs and necessary requirements for that building?
No,
No.
no, they did not. It wasn't abandoned. They were maintaining it. I just don't think they were
Oh, okay.
necessarily maintaining it to the level that maybe it could have been, because there was a lot of roof leaks.
Yep. Okay, I got you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you, Ronald.
Okay, we are moving forward.
All right, and just to let the board know that he has a vacant lot beside it that he's going to be coming back in a little bit to talk about
Are you
here.
there?
So,
I lost
All right,
you.
thank
If you
you.
want to do that right now, we can do that right now to speed things up. It's up to you.
I have another person waiting, sir. Otherwise,
That's fine.
would.
Just trying to speed things up. Okay.
all right.
I'm going to put you back in the waiting room, Ron, and then I'll bring you back in for your next appointment.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Todd Handelman. All right, Todd is with us. He's connecting to audio.
Hello, Todd.
Well, good morning.
Well, good morning and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have a 5-minute appointment before the board for you to describe your property, if you would, please, and your complaint, or let's say your petition.
Sure. So, yeah, I have a home that's on Gogwek Lake, and I think many of the homes in my neighborhood have been on the market. When they do go for sale, they have a hard time. They're at least on the market for a year. So there's not a lot of people coming in in the neighborhood at that price level. I recently got a new assessment for my bank for a rig mortgage, and that's assessing, less than what I paid for it. And so then when I got the taxes, everything's going up in price. And so between that and some of the repairs that the property needs and the trees that we've lost, the property's gone down in value. So I supplied, some of the things that I need to do to get the property back up to a decent price in terms of retaining walls for the seawater, and I gave you the bank appraisal that's going on. So my neighboring house directly next door, that's been for sale for 1.5 years, and it's finally going. I saw it's pending now, but that is that lot has 3 other buildings attached to it, with a pole barn and a secondary guest house. And when you started looking at price per square foot, so in my complaint, or I have it showing that price per square foot, it's about $220 a square foot, versus what my house is being appraised at about $350.
have you made any improvements in the house itself since you've been in it? And when did you purchase it again?
We bought this 2017. We have not made any improvements to the house,
Okay. All right.
but just had to take down trees.
All right. So anyone on the board have questions for the gentleman?
I had a question on the appraisal. What year was the appraisal done?
This was done this past winter.
So in 2020 or 2021?
2020, November 2020.
And the appraisal was done for the sake of a refi?
Correct.
Okay. That's all. I had a question about the appraisal. Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else on the board? Okay. We're looking at the pictures of it now, which is helpful. Have you supplied that appraisal to us, Todd?
Yes, I got this all submitted. Well, that's what you're looking at. Yes, I supplied the appraisal. You're looking at it now with the pictures.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, they're flying by, so we'll get a harder look at that during a decision marketing or decision-making process later in the day.
Okay.
One more question, if you have time.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
The appraisal was done for refi. Was it at a higher value than what you purchased the property for in 2017? The appraised value?
The appraised value is $70,000 less than what we paid for it.
Okay. On the refi?
Yes,
70,000 less than what you paid for it.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
And your purchase again, and what that was 350,000, is that correct?
I'm sorry, say that again?
The purchase price for the home was 350,000, or that's
No, the
Okay.
price per square foot was 350.
okay.
The purchase price was 810,000.
810. All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, Todd, appreciate you coming in and the information that you provided.
Okay.
We'll be getting back to you with a decision by the end of the month.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you for yours.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, we have Tim Shank next, and I'm letting him in now.
And this is for a commercial property, be the former Gary Fields out on Capitol Avenue Southwest.
Right. No,
Yes, absolutely correct.
well, I have a phone number on the screen, but could I hear your name again, please?
Yes, my name is Mr. Tim Shank.
All right.
I'm a real estate developer from Kalamazoo,
Okay.
and I happen to own that property. I currently have it under lease. I bought it when it was pretty derelict, and I would say about 17 years ago. And if you recall, it was boarded up, and I had a lot of uninvited house guests that were staying overnight there. And we had it boarded up, and fortunately, I got a call from Beijing, China, and a couple young men called me, and from Shanghai, actually, from Beijing, and said that they would be interested in building a Chinese buffet there, of which we negotiated, and they invested the money to rehab the building and to make it into what was the old China buffet. But along about a year ago, why things changed dramatically. It evolved, like we all are aware about COVID, and they wound up filing for bankruptcy. And they have long since moved to different location. I don't know where. I believe someplace out in New York. So I was situated with a building that I had no tenant, and but it was all basically intact. So there is a way of communicating amongst the Chinese, evidently. They talk amongst themselves. And a young man from Philadelphia heard about the building being available. He came in, we looked at it, and he decided that he thought he would like to take an opportunity. He's 30 years old, and he moved from Philadelphia to Battle Creek and was ready to try to reopen it. But of course, then, in the infinite wisdom of our governor, they decided that we couldn't open restaurants. So I worked with him for quite a period of time, trying to get through this period of confinement as far as customers and everything. And so he finally was able to open. Then all of a sudden, it came down from on high that he had to close again. So with fits and starts of this young man trying to take and become a productive citizen in the city of Battle Creek, he has been trying to operate in a hope for profitable operational MO, but unfortunately, it's well, I think everybody is aware that they know what's happening to cities all over, but in particular, Battle Creek. And I'm afraid, because of the tax situation on this property, that we're liable to wind up again with another vacant structure. And I hope to try to take and board it up and keep uninvited guests from staying overnight again. And it's unfortunate. There are a few places that are continuing to operate, and I'm sure everybody's aware that the former Ruby Tuesdays out there is in the process of being reconstituted. But new restaurants are going to be pretty rare, it looks like, for the foreseeable future, because of all of the restrictions that have been put on restaurants in particular, and all entertainment venues, theaters, all these other things that we have that depend on customers in order to survive.
Yeah, I think
This
we're all
young man moved,
aware of what COVID did to us all. What was the true cash value that you established for your property?
well, in its current state and what the way the environment is today. Is that what you're asking?
There is a place on the form where you indicate your estimated true cash value for the property as it stands.
Well, if you were probably trying to sell it today, it would probably be worth about maybe $500,000 or $600,000. You couldn't tell you that. And being a realtor for 50 years, to try to take and define an actual cash value in today's market is practically impossible. So, but a range of between $500,000 and $600,000 would be probably what that value would be. And I'm going to guess maybe 500 more than 6. Now, I've been a realtor for 50 years, so I know values. I bought that piece of property with the idea that I could take and reconstitute it. Fortunately, we initially did that 20 years ago. It was a successful Chinese restaurant for a good period of time. And
The professor has a question he'd like to ask of you.
Yeah, Mr. Shank, I do not show where you submitted a petition to the board.
well, I just was able to get here. I'm 81 years old, and consequently, I wasn't able to get all of that information to you just exactly like I wanted. So I'm here today to take and talk to you. If it's something that you think I should submit, if you take and email me. Nobody gave me anything. They just said
There's a link on our website in order to fill out the board review petition, and the board does need that before they're able to make a decision on the property. Otherwise, you could mail it to us and we could process it for the board.
My IT skills at 81 are somewhat limited. So I don't even have a computer. I'm lucky enough to have an iPhone, and even to try to get into the meeting this morning was very difficult for me. So consequently, I'm online and try to take and get something beyond what I've done already is not impossible. But if somebody would help me in your city and maybe send me something via my email address.
Do you have an email account, Mr. Shank?
Yes, I do.
All right, we'd be glad to send you a copy of the board review petition to file out, and then you could email it back to us. Would that be possible?
Sure. I could do that. I don't know if I could do it yet today. I can do it by maybe the end of the week, if that would be acceptable.
All right, well, the board closes on Friday, so it would probably be best to get it to us before then so that they're able to make a decision.
That would be helpful. All right, I can probably work on that.
All righty. And did you say that the building is currently being leased?
It is.
And how much is the monthly rent on it?
I think it's $2,000 a month.
And the tenant is responsible for all of the utilities, and how about the property taxes?
Yes. All of that in addition to the property taxes.
All right, so it's like a triple net lease that you have on the property then?
Correct.
All righty, and you said it's for $2,000 a month, and when does that expire, that lease?
I think it changes in about 24 to 48 months. I'd have to look it up.
All righty.
When he came in here, the place was bankrupt, and he moved, like I say, he moved his family clear from Philadelphia to Battle Creek with the idea that he could open up. And of course, with the governor changing her mind on a whimsical program, and then they limit the capacity, and you're running a buffet. I hope he can survive.
All right. I don't have any further questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Anyone else on the board? A last question or so? Pete? Peter?
Negative on questions. I don't have any questions. Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Shank. We'll be awaiting your paperwork, and we'll be getting a decision to you toward the end of the month.
All right. Well, your folks have been very kind. You got a great staff there in your office, in the assessor's office, and if they can just email me that form or whatever it is, I'll see if I can't get it printed off and see if I can't fill it
Well,
out.
we
and
certainly
send
will
it back.
continue and appreciate the complimentary word.
All right. Well, I know how difficult it is even for your jobs. And of course, you folks are paid so much, so I know how that works. Been at it for 50 years, so I know what it is.
All right. Well,
So-
you have a good day.
It appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I am bringing Ron back into the meeting now.
All right, just a second here. So Sarah, are you able to keep up okay?
Yep, I'm good. I'm back on now. See, my computer's back up and running. So if you want me to take over sharing, just let me know.
That would probably be good because even though I'm not an 80-year-old and been in the business 50 years, my computer skills are a little behind here as well, trying to share
Perfect.
from the folder. So yes, I would
Okay,
appreciate
I'll take over
that.
sharing. Yep, I'm gonna admit Ron and then I'll take over the sharing.
All right, good. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Hi again.
Well, hello there, Ron. Good to see you again.
Good to see y'all again.
All right. Let's hear about this other property, Mr. DeSigio.
Well, this is an unusual strip of land, 50 feet by about 550 feet long, that runs, I believe, parallel to Dickman for that entire length. During our title search, we didn't know that was originally even there. And then at the last minute, it kind of came up. And the city didn't know what to do with it. So they asked me if I wanted it. I said, well, it really doesn't have any value, but they wanted to close quickly on the property. And they didn't want to split it off and give half to the neighbor. I think it even goes in front of his area as well. And they said, we'll just give it to you. And I said, okay, fine. And again, this was valued by the Battle Creek Unlimited, or the city of Battle Creek, and approved by the Battle Creek Taxing Authority. And I imagine if they had put a value on it, they would have told me or not given it to me. So my thought is, I'm if you want to give it to me, great. If not, I'm happy to give it back. So whatever you guys want to do. I don't need it for zoning. It doesn't add any value to me other than having to cut the grass. And I'm not really trying to be flippant or ungrateful or sarcastic in any way. But come on, you guys, you're saying it's worth $40,000. It's undevelopable. The setbacks preclude it from any value or any development whatsoever. So I just don't know how possibly this, let me explain. That's about 30,000 square feet. I did the math. If that were a freestanding 30,000 square foot lot in that area with road access that you could actually do something with, I agree, it has value. But this isn't the case at all. It's 50 feet wide, 550 feet long, and I just have to pay to cut the grass. I mean, I'm just totally floored when I got that. I mean, I thought it was a mistake, but apparently I had a brief discussion with Mr. Arnold about it. I mean, maybe I'm missing something here, but I don't think so. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. I mean, you guys come up with a value, but honestly, it's worth $1 to me. So I don't know what to tell you. And again, this.
All right, we'll take a look at that.
So sure, I would appreciate it. Okay.
All right. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Ron, I did have a question.
Sure.
Okay, Pete.
Does that property abut to the commercial building that you own?
No, my understanding is it abuts and my understanding, the way it was described, it's adjacent to the sidewalk or adjacent to the road. It does not. Oh, I'm sorry. Abuts it. You mean, is it adjacent to it?
Well, when you say adjacent, it runs along the length of the road, the 550 feet?
Yeah, in front of my building and the building. I don't know if I'm standing in the parking lot to my right. I don't know north, south, east, or west. And clearly my property's not 550 feet long. It's part of my neighbor, so I should probably give it to him. Maybe he wants it. I don't know. They were going to do a lot split on it, and they said, we don't even want to go through that much time and trouble. They said, if you want it, we'll give it to you. I said, fine.
Okay.
So it just serves, I guess, as I don't know what it serves as. I don't know.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. DeSigio.
You guys have a great day. Thank you.
You as well.
Okay. We did have Monica in the waiting room and I don't see her anymore, but we have somebody with the name of Fire Tablet on their name. Oh, there's Monica. I'm gonna admit her now.
Good day, Monica. Welcome to the Board of Review. Oops, you're muted and I can't hear you. No, maybe an Alt-A.
I got it.
There you go. Okay. Monica, you've got 5 minutes if you'd inform the board about your property and your petition, please.
Okay, so my property is located at 226 Barrington Circle. I am petitioning the board today to protest the assessed value and the taxable value of our property. We purchased our home in March of 2020, and currently for this year, our tentative assessed value is $197,369. And last year it was $187,03. So there's a change of that for $16,666. I believe that this is high, and I have submitted to you a document that shows our home compared to other like homes for the 2-year study.
Okay, very good.
That one, yep. So the first one that I compared our home to was the 308 Mingus Hills Drive home, which is exactly the same build as our home. The only difference is their land value was way higher than ours, and that is because they have outside improvements like a pool and patios and other things they've done outside. Their true cash value of that home currently is $375,000. They're not currently being assessed because it's a veteran-owned home.
Okay.
But you will see their true cash value is quite lower than ours. And I believe their home is worth way more than ours because, like I said, they have all those outdoor home improvements that we don't have. We have a big rock. That's all we have in our backyard.
That's good.
So the other two comparisons that I had are also in Mingus Hills Drive. You will see there the 220 Mingus Hills Drive sold for $350,000. So their house sold for more than ours, but their true cash value is $326,000.
Okay.
Then the third one is both of our houses sold for the same amount, and their true cash value is at $336,344.
All right.
Okay, so one thing I want to point out about this document too is that these homes that I compare to are all contemporary one-style homes. They're all in ECF neighborhoods, but these are all in Mingus Hills neighborhood, which I believe, you know, the amount of homes that they have there, they have homes up to $900,000 value there. And we don't here in Huntington Hills, in the Barrington Circle issue in the neighborhood.
Right. All right.
Anybody have any questions yet?
Yes. Anyone on the board? Questions?
Okay. Then I compared our home to all of the homes that are surrounding us on Barrington Circle. All of the homes, the true cash value of the highest home in our surrounding neighbors, the highest was $356,610, and that was for 220 Barrington Circle.
Mhm.
Now, I didn't give you this. I just did this morning. So I'm gonna just give you these figures.
All right.
But the 220 Barrington Circle is our neighbor's house. Like I said, they also have a lot of home improvements because they have a pool and everything else. The next one was 221 Barrington Circle, and their true cash valued at $355,556. Now, both of these homes decreased this year in their assessed value.
Okay.
Also, let's see, I have, what's this one? 233 Barrington Circle. Their assessed value decreased by $3,095. And their true cash value is $3,436. And one other thing that I have to note, the last thing,
Sure.
113 Barrington Circle sold. It was listed for sale in March of 2020. It sold for $325,500 in December of 2020.
All right.
All right, I think that's all I have. I'm just asking the board to please take a look at everything that I sent, and we're respectfully asking that you review everything and maybe reassess our values.
We appreciate the time and energy you put into this, and the information will be very valuable to us. Any questions from anyone on the board?
I don't think so. I'm just, thank you for your time.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Steve, that was our last appointment, correct?
That's correct. And because we were, because of the delay, we ran past our break. So I might suggest that we take our 15-minute break right now then, and meet back here at 10:35.
10:35.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stop the streaming in the meantime, Steve, and then we'll restart it when we.
All righty.